Hello everybody. Good evening from England and welcome. Just gonna wait for people to come in on my own at the moment, and yet that is a funny thing to say um, based on our consciousness. So hello everybody, welcome. Hello Catherine, Wendy, Anusha, hello love. Hello everybody. Coming in quite fast now, so I'll just wait a minute for people to come in. I hope you're all doing well wherever you are in the world. I really do. We're in such fast-paced times. Lots happening for everybody. So I'm just waffling while I wait for just a few more people to come in, and then I will get started. And I'll try and keep it very much on track. Okay, so welcome to all of you. As always, if what I say doesn't resonate, please leave it be. Find somebody who does resonate to your journey, your path, your heart, how you think, all of that. Just leave it be. I think probably what I want to start by saying, because there's quite a lot of new people following the Facebook wall now, I just want to start by saying the information I share tonight is through the embodiment process of it. So I awoke in 2012, having had experiences when I was about 22, and then that they just stopped. Okay, so I awoke in 2012, and really quickly I was aware within me to just focus my ascension, my embodiment, by going within. So I was categorically told, and it was just for my path, purely for my path, was to not rely on anything on the outside in order to embody, but just to always learn from within my own self. And that's just particular to my path. Within our reality, there's so many tools and so many amazing books, which if I read them, I'd resonate with them. But there's lots of books, there's lots of courses, there's lots of tools out there which will assist people in their awakening. Absolutely. It's just that for my particular path, I was told to go straight up and to only learn from within myself, because that would be my empowerment. Now the truth is that ultimately that is everybody's empowerment, because at some point or another the books get put down, the tools get put down, because at that right stage the focus is on empowering from within, learning from within, gaining your sights and your senses and your energy, and working with it yourself. And that is the most empowering thing anyone can do, because that is how we change our consciousness. But I want to just emphasize that the tools that are out there are perfectly placed within the dreams, and they go back centuries. The Bible, for instance, and other texts, they're perfectly placed because people have chosen previous lifetime to use a tool, use this, use that, use this religion, use this person, this guru, that type of thing, this book, these tools, and it's their way of breaking out of the dream. So it's absolutely all perfect. I just want to emphasize that. But the information tonight, it may sound familiar. Some of it, yes, because there's information out there in the dream that will be similar to the information I'm giving tonight. But the information I'm sharing was received on Monday this week, on the 22nd of July. and it's actually part of my embodiment process. So I only share on Facebook what I've experienced from within myself. Okay, but some of it, as I say, will be quite familiar to you. I just want to go to the image that I posted on Facebook earlier today. And this live is going to be quite sort of factual. I'm trying to keep it as clear and as easy to understand for newly awakened as well as very much awakened people. So I'm kind of more in my brain than I am focused on my heart center at the moment. But I'm just going to show you one image that I drew on a computer back in 2014. This one I didn't post on Facebook, but if I go in, I've actually got the camera back to front because of what I'm going to show you later. But that was the first graphic I drew. The second graphic I drew was this one. And I wasn't guided in any way, it just came from within. So I used to be a graphic designer, and when I wasn't busy at work, this is what I was doing after I awoke, and I still had the day job. When I wasn't busy, I would do a lot of patterns and different types of geometry that just came from within. It almost felt like a meditation as you're doing it. And then the third one was this, which I posted online. This is the key one, okay? This is the one. And I've shown that over the years to a few people, and not many. I've never posted it. So we go in, and you can see that they're circles and circles and circles. I was told as I was drawing that to place one circle at a time, to not copy and paste any of those circles. None of them. They had to be placed individually and accurately. So there was no kind of graphic design cheating of copying and pasting great big sections of it. Every single circle was placed one at a time. And that was a really specific guidance for doing it. At the time, I knew to call that consciousness. And I had a vague idea of it, but I had really no idea. I knew that this was a type of tunnel at the time in 2014. And I knew that our consciousness was inside it, and that is literally all I knew. If you ask me what the spaces are, to this day, I have absolutely no idea. None whatsoever. I don't know. So that was 2014 until Monday 22nd this week. And it's the information of this Monday that I'm going to share. It's still very new to me, so please bear with, because I haven't integrated it all into my awareness for sure. It's all very new, and I'm going to try and explain it as clearly as possible. But it completely relates to those images from years ago. A month or so ago, I wrote a post on Facebook, this is key too, that said that we can now just simply change our energetic frequency at will. We can just not even close our eyes, but we can just take a second. It only takes a second to change the energetic frequency of our human. In other words, for years we were taught or we learnt, or we understood, or we thought it was an absolute truth, that to change our energetic frequency, we had to change our thoughts. And in a sense, that was a truth. But it was a truth at this level of frequency. As we rise frequency, we learn greater and greater and greater truths that supersede those ones. So it is true to say, if you change your thoughts, you change your frequency. Absolutely. Yeah, that's true. But now, on this mass galactic ascension timeline, we're at a state in our bodies with what we've worked on within, where we can simply change our energetic frequency. And as a result of that, our thoughts automatically change. So in other words, it's the reverse. It's the reverse. It's a mirror. That is key to understanding what I'm about to share with you tonight, okay, is that we can literally, because of the work we've done within, we've raised our frequency up and up and up to the point that we don't have to think. We can just be energy, and we can just change the energetic frequency from within ourselves without thinking. We're just doing it. It's just an intention. It's our will to. So I'm going to show you a close-up of that, okay? So I've drawn out a close-up of just say one section of this. And then I'm going to explain to you what I saw and what I heard on Monday of this week. So I saw it visually, and the data I was given in an audible way. And this is why I reversed the camera. So hopefully I'm going to go through all of these images, so don't worry about what it looks like. But at the moment, I'm just focusing on this. So if you imagine that all of these orange circles are those white light nodes that I showed you in the main image. The white light nodes are these circles. And I've made the circles going smaller and smaller and smaller, as if they're going back, okay, as if they're going into the distance. What I was shown on Monday is that ultimate circle, the large circle, which has light nodes in it that go into the distance, is actually what you can describe as a tunnel. You can describe it as a vortex. You can describe it as anything really. You could call it anything you like. It doesn't matter what it's called. And I was given that data. It doesn't matter what we label it. But that is akin to a tunnel of light, okay, with infinite light nodes in it. And that is just a tiny section of it that's going through the tunnel. I and you are consciousness in that tunnel of light. You know, there's lots of names. I'm trying to think of other names to call it other than a tunnel. It sounds really basic, but I can't think of a word at the moment. But you are consciousness in that tunnel. So you are right in the center of that vortex that's made up of infinite codes of light. Okay. Each light node within the tunnel, and it's infinite, every single consciousness that exists in this tunnel. If we want to look at the tunnel in a larger picture form, we've got the spiral. So that's why I've done the spiral as orange. That is the tunnel that all forms of consciousness are in. So we're all in that. all of us, okay? You know, non-humans, consciousness that is not solid. It's all within the spiral, which is a tunnel of light nodes, okay? Each light node here transfers energy data to consciousness, which is you. It transfers it to my consciousness, which is me in that tunnel. And that consciousness transfers the data to the human brain, which is why I've done that little man or lady with a blue part on its head, just to denote the brain. The blue on the head is purely to show the brain, okay? So the data of light, its light form data, goes from a light node to consciousness. That is your own consciousness, your unique consciousness. I have mine, you have yours, blah, blah, blah. And then it gets transferred to the brain of the human. And that human being translates the data based on its energetic frequency. So all the information that I've shared previously through the years about energetic frequency, about emotions, about thoughts, it's all to do with energy, as we know. It's all to do with energetic frequency. But the human being can only translate the data based on the frequency in the brain. Okay. Which is why, just to mention in passing, our dreams change during our awakening. Have you noticed? So what were dreams that made absolutely no sense whatsoever when we were asleep? Gradually over the years, they become clearer and clearer and clearer, to the point that we really fully understand them. And sometimes we can get what we call learning dreams, which is absolutely clear data that we understand via the brain in dream time categorically. Why? Because when we go to sleep at night, we switch off that mental brain and we go into our subconscious, which is able at that stage to translate the data. It's able to translate that data from that light node to consciousness and into the brain in dream time far more easily than it could years ago. Why? Because we've done the work, because we've been raising and raising and raising our human frequency during the ascension process, and we'll continue to do that. That's the point of it all. I've got some notes because I don't want to miss anything. As we, so each one of these light nodes, and there's infinite ones of them, contains data. But every single light node is a different energetic frequency. And that's key to this understanding. They're all completely different energetic frequencies within this spiral. And this spiral shows a lower frequency, such as a rock, something that's just solid and statutory. And then we would have the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, and then so the frequency goes up, 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 up. We go into the third dimension, the fourth dimension, the fifth, sixth, and so it goes up. And the numbers are just completely irrelevant. It's just all about frequency, and we're just trying to show to the human how it works. But key to understanding is that every single light node is data, and every light node is a different energetic frequency of hertz. All of these light nodes already exist, made in that instant moment. They've always been there. All of these light nodes at the higher levels of frequency, dimensional frequency, already exist. They were always there. They always will be. They always have been. They're there right now, made in one instant. And you are consciousness here in that light, tunnel of light. Based on the human being and their frequency, the human being is able to attract the light nodes, because like frequency attracts like frequency. We've come from a point of saying that if we master our thoughts, we master our energy. But what I'm about to say is that we don't actually create our thoughts. We think we create our thoughts. And that's the information that I've seen and received, and I'm trying my best to translate to you, is that we don't create our thoughts. What we do is translate as best we can the light data, and we translate it based on the frequency that we are attaining and attaining and attaining on everybody's ascension process. What the human being can do, and this is our evolution, this is the ascension, this is what we are actually doing. It's not about talking about it. We're doing it all over the world. But what we can actually do now is choose our energetic frequency. So let's take, for example, just to show how this actually works. We have a human being who is at a certain frequency, and let's say they're angry or annoyed. That is an energetic frequency, and I've shown that in different lives that are on the Facebook wall, if anybody wants to see them. That is an energetic, anger is an energetic frequency. You know, various types of anger. Sadness is an energetic frequency. Loneliness, pain, distress, depression. So is happy, joyful, peaceful, blissful. They're all different energetic frequencies. So say this being has an angry thought. That angry thought goes instantly to their consciousness, and as an energy, as an energetic level of hertz, and that energetic level of hertz goes to one of the light nodes. It then goes back. So based on the light node that it pings to, it moves to another light node. It goes back to the consciousness and then goes back to the human being. And this is what we've come to master. Because as soon as we change our thoughts, or we change our energy, more importantly, if we change our energetic frequency, instead of experiencing this light node that creates in this human being anger, we can change our energy, go via our consciousness in an instant, and experience this light node that is happy, blissful, excited. So previously we've learned to change our thoughts, changes our frequency. Okay, so we could be sat here talking about ascension and energy, but equally I could just change my thought in an instant and talk about cats, or I could just get up actually and go outside. I'm choosing in this moment what to do, okay? I'm also choosing my energetic frequency, because I could be sat here really miserable or depressed, or I could be super excited at the other end of the scale. But I'm choosing my energetic frequency. And by me choosing my energetic frequency, that energy goes from my brain into consciousness that I am, and goes over to a light node. These light nodes all intertwine. All of them. They all intertwine. So a person that is in a frequency, an energetic frequency, they're translating it as anger. If they don't change their energy, their next thought that comes in will be maybe more anger, or maybe slightly less anger. It's the human being that has the power to change their energy. That's the point. Because each light node connects. We could actually theoretically change our energy to a higher and higher and higher and higher energetic frequency. But we can only go so far in the human body. Then we go out of body, or without a body. For the human, though, it's our choice as to what we think, and what we think is a specific energy frequency. So happy, sad, etc. They're all energetic frequencies, and it's our choice what to actually think about. It's then our choice what we actually talk about or write about, and it's then our choice how we actually act. What act do we take next based on our thoughts and our words? So the human has always a choice of what energetic frequency to be in that moment. And like attracts like. Okay. The difficulty behind the veil of forgetfulness is that we create within the human being patterns of behavior. More important, more precisely to say, would be thought behavior. So if you're a person that worries about everything, you weren't born a worrier. You became a worrier through a pattern that got created when you were younger. So you started to worry, and then you worried some more, and then you worried some more and some more, until eventually you ended up being an adult human being who worried about everything. And I say that because I used to be one of those people, and now I don't worry about anything. So we actually create, based on our circumstances and also based on our soul's choice of what to experience this lifetime, we actually create patterns within the human life experience that we're supposed to experience, and then we're supposed to awaken, and then we're supposed to break all of those patterns, because it's not who we are. It's just an experience. That's all it is. Everything is just an experience. Okay. So I want to try and show you again, just to be really clear, that all consciousness traverses this spiral. And as this human being on the ascension, our human is becoming higher and higher in energetic frequency. That's what happens when we awaken. And it becomes higher and higher through the work that we do on ourselves to break those patterns of mental behavior that reside within us. The human, just to reiterate, has an energetic frequency based on its thoughts. Every thought is an energetic frequency. That human has a thought, and the energy from the brain goes to the consciousness. The consciousness transfers that energetic frequency from that human into light form onto one of the light nodes. It also works the other way, so that the light nodes, based on this human being and what they're choosing to operate as in that moment, if they change their thought in the next moment and think about something joyful, that human being will transfer that joyful moment, thought, to this consciousness. And instead of experiencing this light node, it experiences that light node. And when we go through individually, we have huge shifts within us where we all know it's like, oh my God, I've shifted. We've gone from a light node here to a light node over here. It's been a huge leap, a huge leap. And that's what happens, is you've gone from here, say here, to there, in the next shift, and a next shift, and a next shift. That's why people call it the ladder, etc. But what you're doing is jumping a huge distance in terms of energetic frequency from the light nodes that were here, that you were experiencing, to light nodes over here that are higher up the spiral. And so you feel that huge shift. So we can say that the phrase that's thousands of years old, that we all know, is actually becoming embodied this year and next year, which is as above, so below. As above, so below. Okay? And we can say also that the phrase as within, so without is correct, because it's our ascension. It's how we change within us that then goes on to change the reality. So to give an example of different people's reality, if we take the rain is water falling from the sky. That's the solid reality. But if it was raining now, somebody might get upset or disappointed that it's raining and get down about it. Oh, it's raining. And be miserable. And have all of those feelings that come from parts of this light structure. And that becomes their thoughts until they change their thoughts. Because that person could also easily, through choice, say, oh wow, it's raining, oh that's great, the plants need it, the animals need it, the birds need it, it's good for the planet, yippee-doo. And then they would have higher frequency thoughts come back to them and have a higher frequency experience. So they'd have more good thoughts. We're always choosing, basically, our frequency. It seems that we're choosing our thoughts, but what we're doing is receiving data all the time into our consciousness that is non-solid and interpreting that consciousness, that light form, that light node. We're just interpreting it. So the higher we go on our ascension, and when I say higher, I just mean an energetic frequency. Okay, there's no such thing as status. But the higher we go in our energetic frequency on this ascension, the more we experience higher frequency light nodes. And so we have more understanding within ourselves that comes from within ourselves, because it's coming from our consciousness. That's where it's coming from. It's not coming from the dream. It's coming from within us. It's coming from our consciousness. One of the really useful tools that we all have to help anybody change their energetic frequency is to simply become aware of how they feel. So even if we can't define in words what we're thinking and what we think about this or that situation, okay, maybe we're confused in our brain about something, we can forget the thoughts completely, let them go, and just look at how we actually feel about this or how we feel about that. And then we can easily see in an instant the energetic frequency that we're operating at in that moment. Okay? We don't have to understand it with our mind. We can just look to our feelings, which are a barometer that show us our frequency in that moment. We don't have to understand it. And then we can just see, okay, wow, I actually feel sad. I actually feel quite low, or I actually feel quite high. And then we can change that just by going within and raising our energetic frequency, and just change it in an instant now. If you can't change it in an instant, change your thoughts and think about something nice, think about something beautiful, think about people that you love, but change the subject in your mind and you'll change your energetic frequency just like that. What is responsible for creating the hologram, the illusion, the dream, the solid reality is our consciousness. It's the consciousness that projects out a holographic reality that the human vessel, the human body, is within. The consciousness is not in the reality. The consciousness is outside of it. And it's that that's responsible for creating the whole hologram. If that wasn't there, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't exist. Nothing would exist. It requires consciousness to create the holographic projection. I'm just looking at my notes. So to go back to thoughts, for us to think that our thoughts create our reality, it's a part truth. It is a truth, but it's not the whole truth. Our energy creates our reality. And I want to talk about that some more now in relation to the human being and how we change our reality and how we create our reality. So I hope that's made some sort of sense as to how it all works. I'm going to talk about these parts in a moment, okay? But it literally is that during our ascension, and we talk about this a lot, is that the brain, when we awake, based on our will, based on our choice, the brain starts to fire up between cells, and then it starts to relay between cells in the brain. And then it goes into the body and creates patterns of energetic motions and patterns within the body. And this is how we ascend, because we're turning on, if you like, more energy that we're capable of being in the human form, which means we're becoming clearer and clearer and clearer vessels for this consciousness to bring in these light forms in purer and purer and purer forms. So that's why in dream time it becomes clearer. And in our daily reality, life becomes more balanced and more clearer, less confusing. Okay. So in relation to the human, okay, we'll put this all into human context now and go away from the mechanical. We all have our lives, okay? We all have our version of reality. We all have our perception. But what I've been shown on Monday, we're not here to change what is. Because what is, and this, if you like, is our individual reality. So imagine this being you in the middle. That's you with the blue brain there. But that's you. And in your life, this is your life in the green. That's your reality. And there's some people in your reality. But obviously there's millions of people there as well. But let's just pretend that this is your life and reality. We're not here to actually change what is. Because what is already manifested. You've already brought in to your human experience everything that exists here today. If we want to pretend there's a past just for this moment, you already brought that in last week, last month, last year. 30 years ago, you brought this in and that in via this process, which goes both ways. It goes both ways all the time. This is what it's doing. You already brought in everything that exists in your reality today as a result of your previous energy. You can say, for ease, as a result of your previous thoughts. Also, as a result of your soul's intention this lifetime to experience certain qualities before you awake, etc. So I'm aware we're not here to change what already exists in our reality. What we're here to do is wake up from being immersed inside the illusion. Wake up. Learn from everything that has been given within this, within your field, within my field, to learn what has been given directly to you in your life, your specific life as a beautiful soul, as a beautiful facet of creation. To learn from yourself within your life and to clear all of those patterns that got ingrained so that you raise your energetic frequency up, up, up to the point where you become the consciousness, the conscious creator of your dream. So instead of being immersed in the dream and reacting to the dream, you let the dream be as it is, as it was, because that is all a result of your previous thoughts, your previous emotions, which were energy that brought in those experiences to your human. So we're not here to change what is in our life. We're here to create and to bring in the creations that you want so that your life changes. So again, it's a mirror image. It's the reverse of what we thought. We can let what is be. How much energy do you wish to give to the things you don't like in your reality? Because if you give your energy to the things you don't like in your reality, guess what you're giving to your consciousness? Guess what you're going to get back more of via the light nodes, which match your frequency. The light nodes always match your frequency, and your frequency is always rising through your awakening process. Everybody's is, okay? So what do you want to focus on in this reality, in this holographic reality? Because what you focus on, you're going to get more of. Why? Because it's energy, and energy attracts like energy to it. So it's not a case of focusing on what we don't want in our life, in our dream reality. It's a case of focusing and giving our energy, giving the whole of our energy to what we do want. When you give your energy to the things you want, that is an energetic frequency that goes to consciousness, your consciousness. And boom, goes to the light node that then brings back into your reality, into your holograph, that experience. So what if I said, oh yeah, I get that, but there's part of me that doesn't really believe it, doesn't really, I'm not really there, I'd love to believe it, but I don't. Well, guess what I'm going to get? I'm going to get more experiences that allow me to query it, to not believe it, to be confused. If I send out a confused message to my consciousness, all I'm going to get back is so simple, is a confused message back. I'm going to be given into my holographic reality more things to be confused about, more things to be uncertain about, more things to not believe because I don't believe them. Like attracts like. So what we are learning through being awakened is yes, we've been learning, and we still are, about the patterns that are within the human that was placed in the forgetfulness behind the veil. We're here to break all of those. They've got to be gone so that we shift in our internal consciousness as within, so without, and become conscious creators. How and why? Because we can, because we are then that consciousness that knows and is how it works. So we actually become less and less, we become less and less associated with the humanness. And I don't mean totally, no. But I mean, that's the beauty, is that we are human. That is the absolute beauty of it. And all the senses that are human as well. That's the experience. That's why we're here. But we become within ourselves, step by step, more a conscious awareness. So when we go out and about, especially when you're in the countryside, you know that you drop your human thoughts as soon as you get into the countryside of Gaia, surrounded by trees, water, grasses, flowers. And you can just drop into consciousness that is less thinking. It's more consciousness. And as that consciousness, we can directly go to the light nodes that we wish to attract into our reality. So it is about choosing your thoughts, choosing what you focus on, because your thoughts are energy. What you're focusing on creates your own internal energy. Hello, I hope you're still there. I just had a call which I had to stop. Okay. So the limited view is really that our thoughts create our reality. The truth is, it's our energy that creates our next moment. So we need to change our energy in order to emit that energy to our consciousness, which then matches that energy to a light node. So say, for instance, I wished to attract abundance, or I wish to attract good health, or I wish to attract, I don't know, something into my reality. My thoughts need to match exactly that which I wish to attract. How does it feel like? How does that all feel like as manifested in this dream, in this reality? And match how it feels to be that or to have that. And that's what happens. As above, so below. As within, so without. Everything you desire already exists. Everything. Made in that instant. Made in that instant. It's as simple as energy being attracted to the same energy. But not to be attached to this, because this is always moving. It's always in a flow. This isn't permanent. It's an experience that is always flowing. I'm just thinking, what else? I've talked about the patterns. Let's check. I'm so sorry. It's just... So based on your life now, here, what's done is done. What happened 10 years ago is done, unless you want to think about it. If it was a bad experience, do you want to think about it again? There's things that we have to clear, which are the patterns to stop that repeated mental behavior, okay? They have to be cleared. But once you've cleared something, to then dwell on something or to keep it within your mind and go back to it again and again just keeps you in the same area here. It just keeps you bringing into your reality the same frequency. So it is to let go. There is no past. There is no future. There's just now, and the power of now, which rests within you, to be aware of your thoughts, to be aware of our energetic frequency, and then choose. Whatever we choose, there's no right or wrong. There's just choice. There's just the experience. But whatever happens, we're creating this ourselves individually as individual facets of consciousness. Whatever happens, it's this person. It's me in my reality. It's you in your reality that's actually has the power and is ultimately responsible for everything that occurs to you in this reality. There are parts of our experiences that were chosen at a soul level in order to experience in this particular lifetime. Yes, absolutely. But they're to rise out of. Okay? It's time to rise out of them. We're at that juncture in the galactic timeline where humanity becomes aware of what they are. and creates for the good of the whole because of what they're aware that they are. What you focus on is what you create, because what you focus on is an energy. It's a hertz. It's an energetic frequency. So whatever you focus on comes back to you, and you create for your next moment. So in every single moment, we're choosing. We're making a choice. And when our choice is sustained, it comes in to our reality. It comes in. If it was a fleeting thought, oh, I'd love it if I won the lottery, and then, tomorrow I didn't think that, for instance, it's not going to happen. It's not sustained. It has to be believed. You have to know it as done, because it does already exist. There's different levels though. They're not so much levels, they're frequencies of creation. There's different frequencies of creation. And so everything that I've said tonight can be applied by every single human being on the planet if they chose to, if they decided to do that for themselves in their own life. It can happen for every single human being. But within the fields of light that Creator created in that instant, there are what I call energetic laws, or you could call them seals. In other words, they safeguard realities. They safeguard what it's possible to do at different levels of frequency. So if we took, say, the third dimension and the unawakened people in the third dimension, they can apply what I've said today, but they'll only be able to create based on their energetic frequency within the third dimension. These colours, by the way, just ignore them. They're just the marker pens I happen to have. But if we take somebody that is not awakened, they are going to be operating as a human being between a bandwidth of frequency. And that frequency is a wide range of energy, but it's within a field that we can call the third dimension. And within every single field, 4, 5, 6, infinitely so, within every single field, there are energetic light laws that are in place. And if you look closely at that bottom one, you'll see lots of different colours within that field, within that dimension. And they are laws. They're sacred energetic patterns. You can liken them to the mandalas that we see, but there's absolutely no way you could draw this because it's so intricate and vast. But there are energetic fields, there are energetic laws that operate within each dimension. So a person asleep can use what was said tonight and create for themselves a beautiful life that will be contained within the third dimension. And similarly, a person that's just in that transitory dimension, which is the fourth, it's just a dimension to awaken. You awaken in the third, go through the fourth, into the fifth, blah, blah, blah. They can also use this to create for themselves a beautiful life. Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's only when each human being raises their energetic frequency within themselves that they spiral up this light tunnel, and then have access to the higher fields that have different laws of creation. So fifth dimension is very much unity, integrity, oneness, service to the whole. It's less human in a sense. It's more energetic. A very different experience to, say, the third dimension. So the actual way that all of this works, it's actually safeguarded by the very thing it is, which is energy. It's safeguarded by the energetic frequency of each human being. We can only rise and rise and rise and rise and rise through the ascension process, which is literally all about increasing our energetic frequency so that we can have higher and higher and higher experiences, yes, but so that we come out of the dream thinking this is all it is, and I am here, and I am a human, and I am this human identity, to being, I am consciousness with a human body, with a human vehicle. I have infinite awareness, and I am able to be the creator of this reality for the whole, for everybody, because we're all equal, because everything is one, literally. So I hope that helps. I actually feel as if I was all over the place on that tonight. Because it only happened this week, three days ago, I think, Monday, 22nd. And with everything that happens within us, just because it's happened doesn't mean we've integrated it. It just means we've become an awareness that we then again have choice. Am I going to live by that awareness, or am I going to ignore it because I'm going away next week? Or am I going to ignore it because there's a busy family life? There's always that human will, that human choice. Choice creates the reality. And so we're always choosing in every single moment. And it's through that choice, it's by saying yes, always saying yes to what you want, that more of what you want comes through your consciousness to your human, to this life that we have whilst we're utilizing this human body. So it just because we become aware doesn't mean we've integrated it. We continue to work on ourselves to be that newer version that we suddenly are aware that we are. And then that becomes, if you like, a newer pattern, a newer patterning that we're placing into our awareness again and again and again until it just becomes us. So I do hope it helps. I'm sorry that it was all over the place tonight. But I was really aware of the fact that I know I needed to do 3 lives to help people. And so I realised they were building up a bit. And then I got quite excited about this one. So I knew to do this for sure tonight. The next live will be on lack of self-worth. I hope by tonight's one you will see how it absolutely impacts the information tonight, impacts completely the lack of self-worth. That is only a pattern. It is only an experience you chose to have to come out of now. And that will be a very, very heart-based live. The first part will be about helping you, hopefully, to see things, from your mind's perspective, see things, understand things, And the second part will be a guided meditation. And it's my desire to help you clear that. So that will be the next live. And I will do it as soon as possible. And I'll post that one well in advance. Okay, maybe a day or 2 days in advance so that people are aware. Okay. God bless you all. I wish you well in everything. And I just send you all love and gratitude for being who you are and for being here on this planet, doing everything that you are doing for the whole. God bless and good night from Glastonbury. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.